What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Chris, this is 4K Motoring, and we have our next addition to our 2022 Multistrada for the upcoming trip from Raleigh, North Carolina to Austin, Texas for the MotoGP race this year in 2025. Again, it's a trip we made before, but we're doing all the upgrades we can to hopefully make this a better road trip bike for the journey. A company reached out to me to send me a set of driving lights. Now, you guys may have seen these, I added them last year. They are just a set of cheap Amazon fog lights. I believe they were only about 40 bucks for the kit. And actually, I like them a lot. The beam pattern is really good and they were pretty easy to install. They've been running great for about a year. I'm very happy with the switch and the way they operate. And overall, they've been fine. A company called CoLight reached out to me and wanted to send me a set of their motorcycle lights to test. There is no notable branding on this whole box, which is kind of worrying. This is a Chinese company, and it seems like there's a lot of copyright infringement happening in China. So I don't know exactly what's going on with this box, but the company name is not on it anywhere. So I guess they can change that at any time. It claims to be 70% energy savings compared to something, 30,000 hours of service life, and improved brightness over something. But these are the lights we got. Let's go ahead and open up the box and get these things out and compare them to these cheap Amazon lights to see how they do. Ultimately, I will be adding something like the Denali EasyCan system to this bike at a future date. That'll be my kind of final iteration of lighting for this bike. But in the interim, I want to see if we can get similar performance for a product that is just a fraction of the price. Let's go ahead and try out these CoLight D09 lights and see if they're any good. Cardo is having their biggest sale this summer. This is an affiliate only sale from Cardo. The sale is this weekend only, March 1st and 2nd. It is good site-wide for 25% off, excluding the Pro. The Pro is going to be 15% off. This is an affiliate only sale, so you have to use the code on the screen right now to save money, but I'll leave the link and the code down in the description below in case you guys are interested. Okay, first I just want to turn on the bike just to get a rough impression of the lights that I've been using, what beam pattern they throw out on the garage here, just so you can see the difference. As you can see, the one thing I like about these lights is that it is a very flat, wide profile that they put out. You can see the two hot spots from the two lights next to each other, but it is very flat, very wide. It puts it down on the road in a very usable way, and honestly, I'm very happy with them. From the front, visibility is definitely good with these things. They do shine quite brightly, especially in daytime. They do make the bike far more visible, and I am pretty happy with them. CoLight does not include a mount with their lights, so I'm going to be reusing these very generic bar clamps. These things can be got for almost no money. Lots of companies make them. They are very simple in design, just a simple bar clamp with a peg going off that you can use the bolts for a light. We're going to go ahead and replace this with that set of lights. I'll show you some tricks and features that the new lights have that the old ones don't. One of the things I like about the old light is that it is a simple toggle switch, off or on. When they are on, they stay on whenever the bike is on. So whenever I turn it on, these automatically power up. I don't have to press any buttons. Unlike the factory fog lights, that's one thing I didn't like about them, is that you have to activate them manually each time. These things just work every single time you turn the bikes on, which is what I really like about these. So for comparison, I'm just going to go ahead and throw the new lights on those mounts just so you can see them back to back, power them up, and just see the beam pattern and see what all features that they do include. Little caveat, I don't believe I'm actually going to use them in the way that they are wired. I think I'm going to wire them a little bit differently for me to test, but I want to show you everything these lights are capable of just so you can make up your own mind. So here are the CoLight D09 lights. As you can see, they are quite a bit larger than the last lights. They are 4.5 inch. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the build quality. I was worried they'd have like a plastic lens or be a little bit cheap, but honestly, they have a really nice glass lens. They are full metal. They've got some decent heat sinks. They're clearly cast, not milled, but they look pretty good overall. I have no real complaints about their appearance. It does have an LED DRL system and a couple different types of optics in there. They have some wider range optics that are scattered around the outside with a more focused TIR lens in the center. Obviously, this is called the D09 because it has 9 separate LEDs. So let's go ahead and try this thing out and see how it works. By the way, in the box, it does also come with a selective yellow lens that can go over top. This is just a plastic clip-on lens, but if you're into that look, that is available as well. So what we're gonna do real quick is just wire these things up temporarily, just so you can see all the functions and features that they have. I'll show you what they can do, and then I'll share with you what I plan to do with them. Some of these features are actually pretty cool, and for certain bikes and certain applications, I think some people might really like them. Again, one of the big things I like about the lights on my bikes is that I don't have to activate them separately. They activate with the bike, and the switch gear and the way that this thing's set up is not capable of that. But either way, we're gonna be able to work around it. So let's start off, let's see what these things can do. So kind of crudely, I have these things wired up now. This kit comes with a box here, kind of a relay box, that is the overall controller for the unit. Has a couple wires out of it. It has its typical positive and negative that just go to your battery. That is just very simple to wire up. There is another red accessory wire built in that you attach to an ignition power source. That way the box will turn on when the bike is on and not drain your battery. Very important. There are two other wires you can connect. One can connect to your horn and one to your high beams. That will activate a couple features. But let's go ahead and just try these things out and see how they do. When you first turn the bike on, they start off. As you can see, they put out zero light whatsoever, and even though the bike would be on and the bike's light would be on, they turn nothing on at all. They require input from the rider, and that's what we're going to do now. The controller is pretty decent. It gives you two different buttons. One's a light button, one's a flash pattern button. I'll show you what they both do. With the light button, one click gives you DRLs. These are pretty cool DRLs. They're pretty visible. They look pretty good, even from a distance. You can see with the selective yellow and with the white how they look. They are pretty visible. They're pretty bright. They're out of the way. The LEDs are around the perimeter. Now with one more press of the light button on the remote, it's already illuminated. Press it again, and we get light. Again, I have the yellow lens on one side, white lens on the other side, and we can see pretty clearly how much light we have coming out. Now, personally, I'm a little bit concerned about this light pattern. I don't know how well it's going to work. As you guys remember, the light pattern from the other lights that were pretty thin and wide, these create a very narrow hotspot. Now, once they're on, we do toggle between just the DRL, the perimeter light, the main beam, and with a double click, you can turn them both on. I don't see a need to do that. That seems kind of silly, but you can. These lights do have a little trick up their sleeve. Let me show you what that is. With the press of the button, the bottom one here, it's going to activate the flash feature. This is great for getting attention and being noticed. Let's check it out. So with the DRLs first, we can flash them both together, or go with an alternating flash, or we can turn our main beam on and same thing, flash them to really get somebody's attention, or do the double flash. Obviously, check local laws before you try this. Depending where you live, this may not be a good idea, especially the alternating flashing, but they do definitely get attention. This has another cheat, a way to alternate the lights, and that is with the wiring. With the blue wire, when you connect that to power, it's going to automatically turn on the main beam lights, which is a pretty handy thing. So typically in the daytime, I run with the high beams on, so that would default to my high beams being on with these lights being on. Likewise with the green wire, if we touch that to power, we get a flash pattern. The green wire is meant to be your horn. When that hits power, it will flash a couple times just to get somebody's attention. I think that's a pretty cool feature as well.
4 to 6 days later.
Well, after a couple days riding these lights, I can tell you my thoughts both day and night, what I really think about these things. These put out a lot of light, and I'm not going to take that away from them. They are absolutely insanely bright, probably too bright, and they throw light literally everywhere. The optics that they've chosen to use put out light in all directions. This center spot is a very, very tight hot spot out in front of you, but these side lights just throw light everywhere. Where that is beneficial is daytime riding. There is nobody that won't see you coming if you're using these lights on your bike during the daytime. Absolutely. I always run my high beams just for visibility. As long as the sun is up, I'm competing with it for visibility, so that's how I ride. And with these things activated as well, It is insane how bright they are and how widely of a viewing angle they have. Any car that's on a side street coming up anywhere around you is going to be able to see these lights, and that is fantastic. I absolutely won't take anything away from these lights for that. But that is about where my praise for these lights end. Now, if you guys look closely at these lights, you'll see they're very close to the Lone Rider lights. The Lone Rider ones have a little bit better optics. They have some fog lenses on the bottom ones. And of course, they have a little bit smarter control module that goes with them, but they are obviously at a much higher price. What they allow you to do, however, is dim the lights. And that is where I think these things fall flat on their face. Now, like I said, for just spotlights, for daytime riding, these things are amazing. They throw out a lot of light. But if I want to ride at night, they do nothing for me. I can't turn them on without blinding other drivers. And when I do turn them on, the fact that they throw light literally everywhere means that down the road where I want to be looking actually doesn't have that much light benefiting me. This center hotspot does throw light straight ahead, so you can aim that pretty well, but the rest of the light doesn't really light up straight on the side of the road. It just kind of goes a little bit of everywhere, which I don't think is really what you want on a driving light. Something else worth noting is the mounting hardware. Now, this has 2 screws that are meant to be mounted with it, and it gives you a slight range of adjustment on this bracket. However, if you're running a crash bar or some sort of mounting location that is not 100% level, you're going to find that the range of adjustment that this allows is not enough. You're going to have to get one of the mounting brackets that has one of the adjustable arms to be able to help tilt this thing. And I think that's kind of a misstep. I think they could have done a better job. This is pretty secure, and especially with 2 bolts, you can get this thing secured down exactly the way you want it. But the way I have it on this bike with just one of these standard brackets, I can't use both bolts. So that is kind of frustrating. It is fairly stable, but these are big lights, and it doesn't take much to knock them out of exact adjustment. So my final verdict is that if you just want lights for daytime visibility, if you ride in the daytime and you don't want to be missed, you don't want cars to pull out in front of you, you want everybody to see you coming down the road, I absolutely think at the price point these things sit and the quality they are, that is absolutely the role for these lights. They are fantastic at that. They do great. If you want all-around driving lights for your motorcycle that work in day and night, that might be a problem. The only brightness options these have are the DRL and the full beam. Well, the DRL is certainly not bright enough to drive with at night to provide any useful visibility, and the full beam is too bright to be driving at night if there's other traffic around, because you'll blind everybody. That said, if you're interested in anything from CoLight, I'll leave a link down below so you can check out all their products. Like I said, a lot of them seem to be pretty generic in what they have compared to other things. They usually add a feature or 2, so it's probably worth checking out. The prices really aren't bad at all. Personally, I've already taken the plunge and ordered a set of the Denali D7 Pro lights that I'll be adding to this for my trip down to Texas, because honestly I think that's going to provide me with a better set of features for actually riding in all weather conditions. If you guys have any experience with CoLight, I'd love to hear about it, anything positive or negative. If you have any other favorite brands of lights, let me know down in the comments below. That way people that watch this video will know what to look for. As always, thanks for watching 4K Motoring. If you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.